Welcome, everyone, to Conversations with Archbishop Kurtz. We're glad to bring you to a new show. Archbishop Kurtz, welcome.
Thank you. It's hard to believe March is here. We're in the middle of Lent.
Very right. Now, we're on the road again. As you can tell, we're in a new studio space. We're at the Catholic Enrichment Center, simply called the CEC around these parts, which is in West Louisville on Broadway. This is one of the facilities the Archdiocese uses to provide services to the community. Later on in the show, we're going to hear from Deacon Turner, who's
I'm looking forward to that interview. He's going to tell us an awful lot about exactly what enrichment means here, and it's a great word, isn't it?
Yeah, and but you know, it's good to be on the road because people get just a little glimpse of all the different things that are going on in the Archdiocese by being here. So that makes it kind of fun.
Great to be in West Louisville, yeah. and great to be at the Catholic Enrichment Center.
Yeah. Now, as you said, we're in Lent, so let's take a few minutes in this first segment to talk about Lent, and then we'll do more later on in the show, of course, as well. So the three topics, as I said, we're going to do Lent, we're going to talk about Deacon Turner, and then we're going to talk about Holy Week. So we can hold that off to the third segment. No, we'll talk about that wonderful celebration. Now, Lent is many things. One of the three calls we wanted to focus on in Lent is almsgiving.
Right.
So we can go to that too. So let's talk about
Say a little bit about that. Brian, remember the word Lent in Old English meant spring. And so I always think Lent, spring cleaning.
Okay.
It's a chance for us to return to really the image that God has for us. And the threefold thing, as you mentioned, of prayer, of fasting, and almsgiving. The giving of something generously from ourselves. Just think of how sacred Scripture is resplendent in talking about the poor, the widows, people without a home, and always holding up people who are generous. And really, people who are selfish and think only of themselves, they really don't do too well in the Bible. So this is especially important. I think if I mention, and perhaps we can show this, just a segment from the Catechism of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
That might be a good thing, we can talk about it. Let me read it here. Here's what the Catechism says. The Church's love for the poor is part of her constant tradition, inspired by the Beatitudes, by the poverty of Jesus, and by his concern for the poor. So what we're about is stepping into the shoes, if you would, the sandals of Jesus himself, so that blessed are the poor in spirit, his desire to serve others, and his careful care for the poor, plus his own living a simple life. They're all the things that we try to bring together as we seek to give alms, to share whatever possessions we have as generously as we can with others.
Why is that connection with Lent, though? Why charity, almsgiving to the poor, is a Lent activity?
Well, remember, when they talk about in the Old Testament, let's say the prophet Isaiah, when he talks about what it means to fast, and we all connect fasting with Jesus going into the desert for the 40 days, etc. Remember, he said, the fasting that I want is the ability to turn your eyes outward and to help change the lives of those most in need.
So to change your direction, so you're fasting from what you're focusing on?
That's exactly right. So in other words, what you're doing, I like to use that example that we often have used. When I visit someone in the hospital who's terribly in need, and maybe as a family member of mine, I don't even think about eating. My eyes, and I don't think about myself, quite honestly, my eyes are completely on that person. So fasting and prayer are supposed to do the same thing, have our eyes move out of ourselves toward others. And so the corporal works of mercy, the spiritual works of mercy that we're talking about during this Jubilee Year of Mercy they're impossible to do if our eyes are focused inward.
So redirection too. That's very good.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
helpful.
And I think that's what an almsgiving is. We often think of almsgiving as financial, and it is that. It is certainly that. But it's much more than that. We share our time, we share our energy, and if you remember, principles of stewardship were always time, talent, and treasure. And so almsgiving involves many ways in which we go out of ourselves to reach out to others. I often like to say that during the season of Lent, writing a letter to someone you haven't talked to for a while is a great action. And maybe if the person's in need, put a couple of dollars in that letter.
You know, that's actually one of the things I wanted to help us talk about today is one of the favorite things about a Lent activity in the church is a little program called Rice Bowl. Now, I brought with me, this is $1 million bill. It doesn't really exist, but it is $1 million bill. Now, and sometimes we think almsgiving is about the rich giving to the poor. Rice Bowls taught all of us to contribute part of what we have for those in need. So you can have my $1 million bill for Rice Bowl.
Well,
but
you know,
tell us
I'm going
about
to put
Rice
it in
Bowl.
here.
Yeah, okay,
let me
that'd
tell
be
you
good.
about it. I was ordained a priest in 1972 in Allentown, Pennsylvania. In 1974, Monsignor Bob Call, a priest of Allentown, began Operation Rice Bowl.
So in your roots, this is
right
great.
there, right there in the roots. And so it was a different shape at that time. Now it has a little place to put a coin or even a $1 million bill. It's a great, great gift because what does it do? It's asking us, first of all, to pray and share a meal, and share a simple meal with our family, and then to take the proceeds that we would have spent if it were a more extravagant meal, and to give that to someone in need. In this case, Brian, these funds within the Archdiocese, 3/4 of them go to Catholic Relief Services that's in 80 countries throughout the world, touching the lives of the poorest of people. 25%, as you well know, stay right within the Archdiocese.
You know, we use this in my own family as Kathy and I raised our children. And what was fun about it, it was practical for every age group. And I know in our diocese, Archbishop, the young people are some of the first ones to get a hold of this.
Would you remember, we just had, I think not too long ago, the lunch program. That was maybe about a month ago. I think 260 young people from 7th grade on came and gathered for a luncheon and heard actually witnesses of refugee families who came from areas that are being helped by this.
To meet the people who are being helped.
Catholic Charities is doing a great job in getting that message out.
Yeah. Well, the Rice Bowl is a very practical way that everybody can contribute. Not $1 million, but everybody do something. And it's also even a symbol of sharing food, not just, and so that's that sense of nutrition and direct aid is really helpful.
It is. You know, I've had the privilege with Catholic Relief Services to be to Africa, to the Philippines, and to Haiti, and in each case, water and food. Water first. Water and food are so essential, not just to the nourishment, but to the health of people. So this is a great way. And again, all of it is moving our eyes outward.
You can learn more about Rice Bowl by, of course, going to our webpage. And thanks, Archbishop, for describing that. And in a sense, happy Lent, everybody. We have lots more to talk about this, but stay with us. We're going to have a special guest in our next segment, Deacon James Turner, who's going to talk about where we are today, but also the sense of enrichment, which is also part of what Rice Bowl is about.
Excellent.
Thanks, folks. We'll be right back.